Good evening, Internet. My name is Michael, and I'm here to review some stuff for you. Now, what happens when you base a movie around Phantom of the Opera, mix in some Faust, and make it a 70s rock opera? Well, you get Phantom of the Paradise, of course, and that's the movie we're here to review today. Now, this movie is from the 1970s, and it's basically a kind of a rock opera, and it's a pretty twisted tale. The plot is that there's a music producer by the name of Swan in the movie, and he's a very evil guy. And he steals the work of Winslow, who's this songwriter, and he has this great long concerta or whatever it's called, a long piece of music that tells the story basically of Faust. And Swan steals it, and Winslow tries to get it back, and eventually Swan has him thrown in jail, and more bad things happen to Winslow. And eventually he goes nuts, escapes from prison, and gets horribly burned when he's trying to break a bunch of records. His face gets pressed up in a record press. It's pretty gruesome. Not really special effects wise, but still the thought's pretty bad. Anyway, after that, he escapes the cops. Everyone thinks he's dead, and he goes to where Swan's opening up his basically rock club, I guess. It's basically a big auditorium that he calls the Paradise, hence the Phantom of the Paradise from the movie title. Winslow becomes basically a Phantom of the Opera type character, and he stops at nothing to stop Swan from basically selling his music. Swan keeps trying to get like rock acts to do it, and Winslow doesn't want that, so he keeps killing the rock acts. And every time he kills a new band, it's actually rather funny how he does it. Eventually, Swan teams up convinces Winslow to team up with him, that he'll produce his music for real. And Winslow agrees to it, and Swan has him sign a contract in blood. You know, dun dun dun, surprise, surprise. Anyway, this is where Phoenix is entered. She's a woman who Winslow had met once at an audition, and he thinks she's perfect for the role of singing his songs. And eventually, after killing another band that Winslow tries to sneak into it, that Swan tries to basically keep subverting Winslow's stuff, but eventually Winslow gets his way, and Phoenix ends up singing it. But then she's like a wholesome girl, but she gets caught in the limelight of all the music stuff. She starts taking drugs and stuff, and she hooks up with Swan, which the Phantom can't stand, so he tries to kill himself. And then in a rather funny part, Swan shows up and tells him since he's under contract, he can't die. And then he tries to kill Swan, but Swan's also under contract, so Swan can't die. And then eventually you find out at the really crazy finale of this movie that Swan actually sold his soul to the devil. And he's like gaining other people's souls through these contracts and stuff. And then the movie actually kind of has a tragic ending to it. Anyway, that's the basic plot of the movie. It's really crazy, but it's also really funny. This movie it's more of a horror comedy than anything else. It has a whole lot of comedic bits, especially some of the stuff about drugs. It's pretty funny. There's also a lot of music in this movie. It's all from the 70s, so if that's not your thing, you may not necessarily like it. But personally, I thought the music was pretty good. All in all, I definitely give this movie a 5, and I highly recommend you watch it. It's a very unique take on Phantom of the Opera and on Faust. Anyway, that's all I have for this week, and stay tuned next time when we'll review something else.